Welcome back to Boys and Ghouls Film Review, folks. I'm your host, Sarah Stephenson, and it's my co-host, Mike Stephenson.
Hi, guys.
So tonight we're reviewing the sequel to last week.
Grave Encounters.
Well, we're going to, Grave Encounters Part 2. That was released in 2012, 1 year after this one was released.
Exactly.
But I mentioned at the time they were probably filming in 2011 and, the whole how it works these days. Usually it does take about a year for a film project to be completed sometimes. Other times it could be automatically finished, say filming could take a little bit less than that, when you think about it.
Yeah.
Of course, depending on post-production part, the getting it all prepped up, ready and edited does take its time too, obviously, too. So, anyway, let's dive into it, shall we?
Crap. Here we go again. My bit. Okay, produced by Sean Angelski. Martin Fisher and Jeff McLean. Now, I like this bit again. Written by the Vicious Brothers. They wrote and they directed or produced
not this one.
No, the one before.
The one before, they directed it.
And wrote it.
And wrote it and edited
and stuff.
Did the catering fee.
And part cast and stuff. And Anyway, this one was directed by John Poliquin.
Yes.
So there you
go. So the role for... so they were no longer the directors, they're just the script writers.
But here, wait a minute. Edited by John Poliquin and the Vicious Brothers.
Good.
They still had the fingers in the pie.
Of course. I mean, you cannot deny the special effects may be done by them.
Yeah, I mean, it's nice and basic, straight to the point.
And if they did it differently, people would question and say, that's not Grave Encounters, this is so-and-so movie. It's not like the original. Stuff like that.
Now, budget, 1.4 mil. They've gone up a tad. Box office was 8.2. Not bad. I don't think it had a big theatrical run because the release date was the 2nd of October 2012. And then video on demand on iTunes.
It may have just had one premiere and then it went directly to DVD.
A limited release, maybe, yeah.
It went directly to DVD.
So they would have made a lot more money because it was damn good.
And as I said before, sometimes trailers like this and House on Haunted Hill, the Return to House or House on Haunted Hill, they both went directly to DVD, and same with several others that came after it and before it too. So this is nothing new under the sun, as I often say.
Murder under the sun. That's no Agatha Christie. No,
but
he won't do that one.
Well, as I said before, this is nothing new, and so this is nothing new lately. So this has been done several times in the past and in the future.
However, we're doing this course. I like the Vicious Brothers. They're quite good and they're talented. And
they're smart.
I like the first movie. I think this one actually is better than the first movie.
Yeah, I like the fact that this one deals with a bunch of film students who are following and trying to find out what became of the crew from the first Grave Encounters.
Guess what?
Oh, yeah.
Bad move.
And the kill count goes higher than per usual.
Yep.
Not using the term that Dead Meat uses.
Good old Dead Meat. What's his name?
James A. Janice.
Hey, James. Hey.
He's an awesome guy. And I'm a big fan of him.
She is.
And I hope one day I can reach his level of fandom one day.
Be very nice.
So anyway.
How about Ollie?
Ollie is a wonderful puppet, and I still love and support his channel. I also support Dr. Dread and another other movie and film critiquers out there. Some of them that are pretty on my level, my scale of interest and coolness. I do have a few favorites, and most of them are horror hosts along the way too.
Ollie's my hero.
Yes. So let's move on to who stars in this production.
Well, I'm glad you asked. Yeah, rivet. No,
That'd be rude.
Well, the problem is of these sorts, they've got a few people thrown in the background as well and stuff. Okay, Richard Harmon plays Alex Wright, a university student and filmmaker who becomes obsessed with the previous film. So he's our main guy, and he's almost the final girl. Anyway.
Well, final guy, last man standing, as we often put it.
I was joking about the final girl. Okay, so, yeah, whatever. Now, Leanne Lapp, she plays one of the students, who's Alex's love interest. Sean Rogerson, as himself, plays Lance Preston. He was in the first movie.
Yeah, so he makes a brief cameo in this one.
A brief cameo.
Well,
he has a bit part.
He makes a big part.
They find him. They come across him later on. He's still trapped inside the building.
Yes.
He's gone a bit crazy because the ghost doctors gave him a lobotomy at the end of the last movie. So he's not feeling himself today.
Jeez, don't go that far.
Here we go. Now, wait a minute. This doesn't get mentioned in the plot or anything. Sean Rodson and blah, 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 who survived the events of Grave Encounters but has gone insane after being trapped in the hospital for 9 years. It's not mentioned in the plot, but I think he just mentioned it in somewhere when he finds him. Oh, it's been 9 months now, it's been 9 years.
Yeah, for him. But then again, it's a long night of things.
You got no idea of time.
So there's may not be time. It's like Mike and I were discussing last time we were reviewing the first one. Time
went all weird.
It doesn't exist in this world.
On a different plane. Anyway, Dylan Playfair plays Trevor Thompson. He is Alex's best friend and a cameraman. Stephanie Bennett plays Tessa Hamill, Jennifer's friend. Howard Lay plays Jared Lee, Alex's second camera and Tessa's boyfriend. I won't mention anybody else because it's more just bit roles. So there you go.
Yes, so I might as well get into the story.
You might well get stuck into it. I got nothing else to say.
I should mention the brothers.
Vicious brothers, Heckle and Jekyll. Yeah.
They make a brief cameo in this one.
They're supposed to be doing working as crew or something or other, or janitors or something or other. Yeah, for this guy, and there's two guys at the back. Yeah. The Vicious brothers.
Yeah, you may remember the producer or distributor guy who we saw at the beginning of the movie saying all that stuff.
Well, I'll mention him because you raised it. Yeah. Ben Wilkinson plays Jerry Hartfield, the Bruce of Grave Encounters.
Yeah, he makes an appearance again, so he comes back, and the rest of the time throughout this movie, they keep bringing back the old footage from the first movie to jog our memories. You know, jog, the kind of thing that you run around the block.
Yeah. I didn't. I watch people run around the block. I go, gee, that's energetic, isn't it? Yeah. Anyway,
it's handy if you have a dog with you. That way you feel like it's less
then there's bending over exercises, picking up the crap.
But at least it's fun, benefiting. Anyway, so I was talking get stuck into the movie. So the movie starts off with, let me see. Oh, yeah, a bunch of film critiques and film reviewers on YouTube who are going on about Grave Encounters, and most of them say how stinky it is.
Some are saying, it's really good and scary. Some are saying it's crap, it's bull.
Yeah, some of them dislike it for the special effects.
Some think it was fake.
Some say it's fake.
Yeah.
Stuff like that. And one of the film critique is none other than Alex, who's a film student who gives the movie 1 skull out of 4, I think he says. So he's dislikes it on a level. So anyway, he's doing a bit of a film review like we are, obviously. So
we're better.
He then cuts out, and then we see on Halloween the 31st, I should say. It's Halloween, obviously. It's October, and he and a bunch of friends are actually having a party at a sorority house or whatever. See, this is America.
A frat house or something or other, or one of those sort of things.
He's forced by his friend after he was doing a bit of jogging. And
jog.
yes, and asked to come to a party. So he goes to a party, he drinks so many shots, he gets wasted, and the next morning he has this horrible hangover and has no memory of the night.
Does he? What?
And then we see from the night in question some photos that his friend posted online. Disgusting stuff, unforgettable stuff, not really worth mentioning about, ever.
Well, what are friends for?
Then we cross over to the fact he's doing a film of a slasher or a horror movie.
Hey, that's good.
I should mention Alex is like every other independent filmmaker I know who want to reinvent the wheel in filmmaking. And I think I'm just as much the same kind of person. And he agrees that, like a lot of filmmakers out there who think that they like to go back to prosthetics, special effects, makeup, the old-fashioned types of way of making a movie, instead of all the CGI crap.
Hey, Slippy.
Don't go there.
Sorry.
Don't mind Mike here. He's being a pain, as usual. So, anyway...
We should do a video.
Yeah. So, anyway, as we go along, our characters are... they're doing the slasher. It goes really well, and the dialogue is very cheesy, obviously.
How rude.
But there's really good prosthetics in this. Like, there's a bit of an interesting scene in that. Anyway, he does eventually, when he's not doing his film, he actually gets a message from a fan who is called Death Awaits. Does that ring a bell, guys? Because it's the same
message that was scrawled or spray paint on the door of the nut house. Yeah.
Yes.
So
this person has kind of contacted Alex to show some raw footage of Sean being
new footage.
New footage. I said raw footage was not edited whatsoever.
Fair enough.
So new raw footage from Grave Encounters of Sean. No, it's not a bad guy, you stupid moron. You hear that? Guys, I hit Mike.
What? It hurts. Boo-hoo.
Anyway, it's footage of Sean Lance, if you're curious, who's actually the mental institute. He was wearing a white gown and the name tag we've mentioned earlier, and he's scrambling around the room with a lot of scribbles on the wall from the previous patient from the past.
Yeah, because back in the olden days, they had a patient in there who they were reviewing that room and said, oh yeah, this guy was locked in here and he did a lot of scribbling on the wall, and he's taken up residence in this room.
Yes.
Yeah.
So anyway, Alex decides that he wants to investigate further into this. He then finds out, what are you doing? Will you stop messing around? Pay attention.
I am paying attention.
You're not.
I am.
You aren't.
I aren't. I am. Whatever.
So, anyway...
I'm fidgety, though.
You're being a pain today.
I'm fidgety.
Well, shut up. If you're not going to do a review, go home.
I am home, and it's my equipment.
Anyway, so Alex reviews the footage again, and he finds out that he believes that this footage is real or something like that. I'm starting to believe it, but of course he has no proof. Eventually, Death Wade sends him some information about Lance's, or Sean, I should say, mother, where she lives. And so him and his friend Trevor and his other friend Jared, they make a point of visiting Sean's mother, of course. And of course, she's suffering from, what is she suffering from?
Dementia.
Yes.
Alzheimer's. She's off the planet.
Yes, in other words. So she's no help. She just says her son's gone now.
I'll be back later.
And Bill will be back later. Mm-hmm. Of course, when they go up to his room, the place is completely dirty. Like there's dust everywhere. There was plenty of photos of him, of his at a young age, obviously. And well, anyway, her carer arrives and tells the boys to leave and stuff like that. And of course, they oblige, and then they head off back to wherever they're. And then Alex gets some information on the studio that's distributed the Grave Encounters, the movie, obviously. So it's down there. and of course, he brings a cameraman, obviously, along, because considering it's a found footage movie, we need the found footage stuff.
Yeah.
So they head down there. Of course, they head to the set, and the guy there is not really very talkative, and he sends his security guards to escort them out of the set. Of course, he comes back to them and tells them to have Alex come to an interview for just briefly, and no cameras.
Yeah.
Of course, he hides a camera. I don't know where on his.
One of those secret little camera, spy camera type things.
Yes.
Yeah.
And he starts explaining to Alex about how all the footage from Grave Encounters is real, and the fact that the other stuff, like the brothers I mentioned, are actually staff employees who just happen to be not benefit from the project. So they kind of were the they took part in the interviews, spoke a few professional words, stuff like that, and that kind of got people believing that all the documentary film footage, the mockumentary, was all fictional and all that stuff. Of course, he also explains that he's not gonna. He thinks that Alex has no proof and doesn't think that there's any chance of him ever finding any proof. So he tells him to bugger off. But eventually Alex does show the footage to the others and say they think that this producer is a load of crap and a jerk. But they think that Alex is not as crackers as they thought he was. Because for a while, both his girlfriend and his friend Trevor thought he was crackers. Of course, they don't want to go. They then are given coordinates to the hospital, and Death Awaits tells them that he'll meet them down there. Obviously.
Certainly does.
Of course, the camera guy, he agrees to come. His girlfriend, Alex's girlfriend, Jennifer, agrees to come. His friend Trevor is less than scriptable because he doesn't think that they should go because what's the point considering? But Alex
sees a true believer.
But Alex thinks he's on the lead of a hot, real story,
and it could be really good. Could make his career.
Mm-hmm. So him and his team, they head down to Canada, and up to Canada. Sorry, guys. And they settle into a hotel, and they start to explore the outside of the institute, obviously, and of course there's security guards there who tell them to bugger off and try to take the camera off them. Of course, they eventually drive away quickly, and before they get the cameras off them, and eventually they get back to the hotel and they try to make their plans of sneaking in that very night to that hotel. To the institute, obviously. So
naughty.
All the time, both Jared and Trevor are acting like total idiots, like Mike here.
Yeah, that's my job.
Yeah, and so anyway, they make a plan to head inside to the institute. Of course, they think of everything, or so they think. They say they have thought of everything. They have brought along some glow sticks, a special walkie-talkie phones, and let me see, some special what do they call those things that you use for boats when you're a blowhorn?
Oh yeah, little aerosol cans full of air and a little horn on top of them, that sort of stuff.
Yeah, so they have one of those as a panic, so in case if something happens.
If you got any trouble, everyone comes running.
Yeah, it's handy. Anyway, they also brought along their cameras, obviously.
Food.
Yeah, so we think. Anyway, yeah, true. So they head inside the institute, of course, avoiding as much security as possible. They eventually head inside using their to unchain the door, and eventually head inside. And they start doing a bit of filming here and there, doing their own Grave Encounters approach, explaining to the audience at home what stuff they brought home with them to make sure they don't get lost and stuff like that.
Exactly.
Of course, this kind of backfires on them eventually later on, but I'll get into that later. So they eventually suit up the whole place with cameras to the same places as the original team.
Yeah, they set up in the foyer, wasn't it? Just inside the front door?
Yeah, one there, one in the bathroom, one in the special scribble room, obviously.
And one where the window opens.
And one with the window opens, and I think one in the basement where Sean had his last moments of insanity.
And disappeared.
Well,
we thought we thought he disappeared down there. Yeah, he went to parts unknown.
Of course, just like usual, the kids use the call out to the spirits and say, is anyone here? Please leave a message at the sound of the beep. Beep. Exactly. So, they also find a spirit board or Ouija board.
Ouija board, spirit board. It has a name. Why do they call the spirit board? It's called a Ouija board. It's always been called a Ouija board. It's got it written on top saying Ouija.
Yes, and it's also in German. So, do you have a problem with that? It's called yes or no.
I thought it was French.
Anyway, it doesn't matter.
So,
anyway, they decide to use this Ouija board to contact the occupants. So they start saying, "Is anyone here?"
No.
Yes.
Oh, yes.
And then we ask, "Who is that?" And we find out that it spells out "death awaits." And we realize, oh my gosh,
there's a contact.
Their contact that was a spirit.
That happened on Casper.
When?
The movie Casper.
Oh, yeah, that movie.
They got a message to him.
Ah, yes, that's true. So, anyway, so they're left with... so they're actually been led by a ghost, or ghosts, with a pearl, and they've been forced, they kind of were pulled into this house by these very apparitions. Anyway, the place starts shaking, the chairs, tables start shaking, and they realize they then try to run a bit, and then the security guard catches up to them.
Yeah, he comes in.
He tells them to pack up their you-know-whats and get lost. Of course, when he hears a noise upstairs, he thinks there's more of them. And they say, no, we didn't bring anyone else. No, it's just us. Let me see.
Our little group.
Yeah, our little group. But unfortunately, he doesn't believe them. So he tells them to stay in the foyer while he goes and explores upstairs. So while they wait downstairs, we hear bang, bang upstairs. They quickly scatter up there, and we soon see... let me see his flashlight remaining there, and we don't see what happens to him until later on when we discover.
We find him later.
Yes. We then discover a new ghost in the kids' ward, and it scares the snot out of these group people, and they start scattering quickly, trying to get away.
She was really cute for a minute, and then she put a ghost face on. Whoops.
Yeah, I should mention at this point, Jared. He gets killed, like he gets thrown out of a window, I think.
Yeah, went up where the window wasn't opened automatically. Well, he got thrown out the window next to it without even opening the glass.
Of course, Tessa does explain, and they do see the footage and stuff like that. Anyway, so they are in deep trouble now. So they can scatter away from the ghost, and of course, as they're heading out, they try to grab all their cameras, and they make a point. Oh, before we go down there, they do find the security guard, but he's actually burnt to a sizzle, all that stuff, by the electric shock treatment, I think it was.
Considering the electricity has been turned off in the building, it makes you wonder. Yeah,
they try to turn it off, but then it gets switched on again.
The ghosts are pretty clever.
And the guy starts frying there alive, obviously, because he woke up when they were trying to unstrap him, and he's acting hysterical and stuff like that. But eventually he gets sizzled, and his body bursts into flames. Or not bursts into flames, he just gets a lot of fire on him, and he starts burning up. Anyway, they then quickly scatter out to the front entrance, because another ghost is chasing them. A very skinny, very tallish type ghost, like a thin man type one. And they start getting chased down by this thing, and as they reach the entrance, it bursts into nothing. Pretty much. This is the first time we actually see these people actually escaping the institute, and at the same time finding out the ghost cannot leave the place, or we think we're not sure. Anyway, they get into their van, they start heading back to the hotel, and when they get there, they start stocking up their gear, getting all their stuff together, and they start heading out to the elevator, where we see as the people pass them They pass a cleaner, and when she starts standing there, as they enter inside the elevator in a weird way, they start heading down, and we watch from a sort of CCTV thing, I think it was.
CCTV.
Yeah.
CCTV was, yeah.
Yeah, and as they're heading down to the lobby, we then see
It goes straight down the basement.
Yeah, it shows the basement of the institute, and they realize they never really left the institute, as it turns out, or maybe the house was tricking them. Obviously, at this point, because there was no way they could have just drove off, and then next minute they got zapped back into the place. I don't know. Maybe the house has this way of tricking its people, so they're stuck there, and eventually they continue down through the basement. They use a special heat-seeking camera, if you can call it that. A special camera that allows you to see heat.
Yeah, a temperature one. Yeah, it's a bit like infrared, but it's heat. Yeah.
Yeah, they eventually run into
thermal camera.
Yeah, they eventually run into Sean, who tells them about how he thinks he was there for 9 days, or not 9 days, because we already know by now that he's been in there for quite a lot longer than that. Wouldn't you say, Mike?
Well, it's 9 years.
Yeah,
he doesn't realise it.
No, he doesn't realise that. So
it's been 9 months or something.
Yeah, he takes the scissors and he cuts his hair. His hair's grown quite a bit, like, as we said, 9 years. Duh.
9 years, hasn't been a haircut. Yeah, hasn't been.
Anyway, he explains...
I know what he ate. He had a rat diet.
Yeah. He then explains that he kind of doesn't... It's hard to figure out what he's saying, but by the sounds of it, I think the institute continues to change and alter. Like, 1 minute you're facing a sort of a dead end, and the next minute you're facing down a corridor. It's like magic or something like that. He though shows them his own map of the place he starts developing on his own, and it seems very interesting. He even explains not to go inside the lobotomy room where the doctor performs his operations, because that's where most of the victims that he's done have been killed there. Obviously, of course. Of course, Sean is willing to help to an extent, obviously, provided that they try to help him get out of there. He also explains a special door that will allow them to escape, but it's got a lot of chains around it.
It's a freestanding door in the middle of a room, so it's a magic door.
Yeah, we don't know that. So anyway, so they do get chased down by another few ghosts, and eventually they decide to rest up for a bit, and where Trevor goes down to the toilets and he starts saying his final will and testament to his family at home. Of course.
I love you, darling.
Yeah. Then
Emo boy.
Yeah, Sean appears and he kills him, chokes him to death, all that stuff. And then
the spirits made him do it.
Yeah, then the spirit starts taking up the camera and starts filming Sean.
Yeah, it's really good. There's these cameras floating around. Really good.
Yeah, anyway, so he's then takes the bulb cutters, cutters that I should mention that when they at one point in the movie they kind of dropped them somewhere, but they eventually found them, and now that they have them, so he's going to start cutting the chains around the red door I mentioned. And so they get he gets them and he starts cutting away the chains. Of course, when he opens the door, it just enters out. It doesn't go anywhere, because it's a door that's pretty much in just the middle of the room, and there's no entrance or anything. So he then approaches the scribbled wall, and he asks them, how can I get out, or stuff like. And they said, you must kill some of the witnesses, and then collect the tapes, and then finish the movie. That's the instructions the spirits left for him.
Yeah. Producers, they're all the same.
Alex and Jennifer find out about this, and they try to search for. They find their friend dead, obviously, and they realize that Sean was snapped and he's not to be trusted. So they try to escape another attack from spirits, and eventually they head into a closet, and somehow the closet transport them to. I should mention they actually went to the lobotomy room, and eventually they get chased down by the ghost, and then they get into the cupboard, and they get transported into the red room, or the red room, the room with the red door. Yeah. Of course, they see the door, but they think, as usual, that Sean is crackers.
Off twig, yeah.
And he then approaches them, and he says that he must finish the film, he must kill the witnesses, and take the tapes and finish the film. Of course, Alex says, "No way, I'm not going to give you my camera." Yada yada, and he says. Then Sean and Alex start fighting, and as they're fighting, something happens. A wormhole appears in the room.
A big vortex wormhole on the wall. Yeah.
It wasn't mentioned. It was detailed in when they were in the lobotomy room. There was a bit of an illustration of a wormhole along with the previous patients that were killed in that room. Obviously, the people from the Grave Encounters crowd, obviously, and. We eventually see, so the wormhole starts opening up and starts pulling both Sean and Alex and Jennifer into it, or try to get them.
Well, they'll hang on to anything they can hang on to. Obviously, not to go into it.
Sean, he loses his grip, and soon enough he goes into it, and then the wormhole closes
very quickly.
Which makes me wonder, maybe this wormhole was asking for a sacrifice.
He was a sacrifice.
Yeah.
So
we're left with wondering what happened to him, whether he's alive or dead. We don't know.
Alex is the final girl.
Now Alex realizes that Sean is not completely off the twig. He realizes that the only way to get out is to kill the final person, collect the tapes, and leave. Of course, so he turns to Jennifer and he takes his camera and starts smashing her head.
Don't break the camera. That's a bit rude. Didn't he break the lens?
Yeah, he did. Soon enough, as he's collecting the tapes and starts loading them to his bag, he then approaches the door. As he opens it, we see down a dark corridor with a light at the end, I'm
dead. No, we are.
He walks out, and soon enough, as we head towards the light, we see an open landscape. I don't know where.
A country, a rural area, if you will.
And when he looks behind him, the red door, disappears and crumbles.
He crumbles to pieces, yeah.
And then we cross over to, could be 2 days later, I think. I'm not sure. Well, 1 day later. I'm not sure.
Later that night, the police found him walking down the street.
They find him walking the streets, and he's off his rocker. He goes on to say, "Where am I?" Stuff like that. Yeah. I think he's in Los Angeles at this point, because he was in Canada, where the institute was, and now he's in Los Angeles, which makes me think: did the house transport him there? Apparently. Anyway,
or send him back home so they can complete the film.
So, the house was no idiot. Obviously, it knows where to place.
And they knew he lost the car keys.
Anyway, I think it was the following Halloween. It's sort of
it's a period later. It doesn't say.
Because this in the last scene it takes place in December, somewhere time in December.
Yeah,
so the next October. So this one is 1 year later. The distributor, is explaining how they have just developed this sequel to Grave Encounters, and Alex is with him, and they're explaining how all the footage that you see here is all fiction and it's not real.
No ghosts were hurt during the making of this movie.
That's probably the most truthfulest thing about this movie. So anyway, Alex tells the audience not to go to this place.
It ain't worth it.
It's not worth it. Then we cut to the credits where we actually see the actual area locations of where it is.
Latitude and longitudes. Well, it's the numbers are showing up at the bottom of the screen. It says 49, 14, 112, 48. and the location where it's actually filmed, the hospital's supposed to be, filmed it, it's 49.25, I don't know the right terminology, so many degrees and so many seconds. So it's 49 degrees and 25 seconds or whatever, and 122 by 81.
So, anyway, there was also a post-credits scene where we see the girls, Jennifer and Tessa, talking about what happened in October regarding their friend being Alex dressed up in drag, obviously.
Yeah.
Of course, it's not important. It's a boring topic.
I don't know why. I just thrown in there.
Anyway, the movie cuts out and fades out.
Yeah,
the end.
Good. A nice sharp
So
end,
that's Grave Encounters, and I don't have any much trivia on it, sadly.
No, I got bugger all too.
So...
I don't know, Yeah, I was right. Yeah, the budget was blah blah blah. I said 1.4 million. It was released on October the 12th, 2012, in a limited theatrical run, but it still made some decent money for what it was. But released early in the month on iTunes for download. So obviously they tried in a few cinemas, made some bucks, and it went straight to video on demand or iTunes, whatever. Yep. Critics didn't like it that much. No, I mean, they didn't like it that much. I mean, Rotten Tomatoes gave it 20%. There's only 10 reviews, though. Didn't help. It was panned by some critics, obviously, but praised the acting of Sean Rogerson. He played a real loon. He did. He's good. He carried it over well. So, look, it's not a great movie, but I think it's better than the first movie.
I like the fact they talked about stuff that most independent filmmakers often discuss about how they want to reinvent the wheel in genre. Yes. And I think we all want to do that. We want to reinvent the wheel, try to explore new genres, and try to make something that has not been seen before.
Yeah, something fresh.
Yeah, instead of going back.
That's why I like independence. They take a fresh approach sometimes, where the tired old studio personnel turn it and saying crap all the time. Sorry, they do.
They do, and they're doing exactly the same thing again when it comes to this sort of thing. Yeah. I mean, I wish that they didn't. I mean, if it's good the first time or the second time, then there's no point in going on and doing it again and again.
So Universal Studios had the right idea when they're doing Dracula and Frankenstein, the Wolfman stuff. What they did is they did several movies. Said, right, we're running out of ideas. We haven't repeated the story. We've just taken different ideas and run with them to make movies. When they run out of fresh ideas, they didn't make any more. They gave it to Abbott and Costello to play with.
Yeah, true.
And that was it. And then everybody else made Dracula and Frankenstein movies and Wolfman movies, and but they weren't doing anything really new. So it's just, it's a sad thing. Yeah.
It is a sad thing, considering the fact that these people put their hearts and efforts to making it look interesting for us fans at home.
Exactly.
I do wish that more than more ever that I do like to see more and more aspired filmmakers to try something new, and nothing that will just keep you. Something that will keep you guessing is what I like. I like guessing. Well, unlike other fans who think everything should be out in the open, which I don't like being out in the open. I like things. I like to be kept in the dark. I don't have not everything. I don't want everything on in front of me.
You like something, a bit of a surprise hidden in there. Yeah. Easter egg, if you will.
Yeah, I like surprises, guys. I don't like it when people just naturally say there it is, and that's...
It's time to scream now. Yeah, scream. Yeah, it doesn't work.
Yeah.
It loses something.
It loses something to a lot of people. So anyway, so now we've gotten reviews out of the way, do you want to start rating this one?
Yeah.
Okay.
I think I gave that one 9, didn't I, the other day?
Yeah, 9. I gave it 9.5.
Yeah, I'll give it another 9 too. It could have been a little bit better. I mean, it was quite good. Don't get me wrong.
True.
It's just that I think it's like if some of these independent guys, they think, it's a good story, but I think sometimes they miss the opportunity to make it just that tad better. I mean, not knocking the Vicious Brothers, they're good guys. And the people who are part of the production team, I think they've done a sterling job, but still there was a little bit of room for improvement, but still 9's pretty damn good for me.
Yeah, I'm going to say 9.5 out of 10 myself. I mean, I do like the fact that the characters discuss things that remotely interest me, like all that stuff, which is even cool. And I like the fact that the characters were very relatable, because most of us are either fans of of horror, and some of us are inspired filmmakers, which even more, like I am an inspired filmmaker who's trying to make it in our own way.
Yeah, that's it. Exactly right. Aspiring filmmakers.
Yeah, I'm at the moment.
Never give up, never surrender.
Yeah,
right?
I'm halfway through filming my own project at the moment, where we got some really good shots. I'm not going to say spoilers, not on this channel.
No.
So we got some really good shots,
though.
Yeah, and a lot of not in your face moments. We just, most of the scenes we've captured are, keeping you at suspense, which is what I want. I like suspense, and I like it when you keep people guessing about certain things in movies.
Well, it does. It's a bit of what's the word? Suspense. Yeah, like Hitchcock did it quite nicely.
Yeah.
You never know what's going to happen next.
Yeah.
And that's what you want.
Yeah, keeping people guessing is the best way to go for in a movie.
Didn't see that coming. That's it. You should be able to do that.
Yeah, even if it's even if the murder kill is off screen, off screen can be really benefiting. Keeps you guessing whether or not the character is either dead or murdered or not.
If you're two people fighting, you hear a gun go off, but you don't see what happens.
Yeah.
Who died?
Was it the
hero
good guy or the bad guy?
Because do a cutaway at somewhere else. Okay. And then later on you see a hand come round, or who is it? The bad guy, the good guy. Yeah, that sort of stuff. It really creeps out. You find out the good guy survived, but he got a bullet in his head. No, whatever.
Yeah, I mean, there's that possibility. Which
he's not very well.
Well, I remember when we were doing this movie that one person was commenting in a scene where he remarked about one of the prosthetics they were using. He was remarking about, how come this person goes rigid and yet his head got chopped off at that time. I hate it when people would overthink it and think, do you really need to discuss this? Do we need to discuss everything that's in a production? Like, try to work out why this sort of thing happened? Do we need that, or do we just want to enjoy a production?
I would like to enjoy it myself.
Yes. So, do we really need to put it on the plate and just say it's all explanatory, all that stuff?
That stuff. Yeah.
But I don't like being explained. I mean, as long as the scene could get you into the story, as long as it gets you wanting to watch it, then the director or the writer, or the director, he's actually succeeded in grabbing our attention.
Ooh.
Which is even more important, because if a project grabs your attention, then you're letting the audience tell their own story when they're actually watching it.
Exactly.
Keeping them guessing, keeping them at arm's length when they keep thinking that they got the story, but no, they're still halfway, and they still haven't worked out who did what to do.
Yeah.
Keeping them at guess. This is what we're all about usually. I like it when keeping people at guessing about this sort of thing. Well, some people like it. I want it to be all gory, and I want it to be all showy.
Yeah.
Do we need it all showy? Maybe sometimes, but
sometimes what you don't see is more scary.
Yes, exactly.
You hear a noise. What was that? Instead of say you don't see the noise happening. Oh, look, that thing fell over. No, you hear the noise. you don't know what it is. So, okay.
So, okay,
Anyway,
guys.
Now,
so
where to get it?
where can we get it?
eBay, you can buy them. Amazon, you can rent it only. So, if they've got it, other places should have it as well. So, yeah, have a look. Look, it's good. I think they're both good movies. I think the second one's slightly better than the first movie. So, yeah, they both work. I would do a double header.
Yeah. I read somewhere, guys, when I was looking before our podcast. Someone was remarking about how sequels or final either the sequels or the final movie in a trilogy could be the flop or the downfall of a movie. Not always, of course.
I mean, it depends if they'll take the Babysitter.
Okay.
Babysitter 1, 2. I think Babysitter 2. The Babysitter 2 was a far better movie than the first movie because it did bring it all together in the end, and there was a really good closure in it, and that sort of stuff. So I thought it was a lot better, and so they didn't just milk it for the sake of milking it. They just continued the story and brought it to a bigger climax. So it can be done properly. But if someone's just going to do a second movie or a third movie just to milk it for what it's worth, and let's see if we can get a few more bucks out of the people, then you've got a problem with the product. So
Yeah.
If in doubt, don't do it. If you're doing it for the wrong reasons, you're probably not going to get a good movie.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Anyway, if you don't put your effort into it, you're wasting everyone's time.
Yeah. It's about the art, guys. It's about the product. A production team should produce something, not same old. Okay.
Yeah. So that's everything we need to discuss on this. I don't think I don't have any trivia about this one, sadly enough.
No ghost died.
No.
Oh, actually, the building, that building they filmed it in.
Yes.
They used the same location, obviously.
Of course.
It was a real hospital, asylum, whatever it was, hospital or asylum. And it had been used for many, 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 many years. I believe in the past couple of years it's actually been demolished, so you won't see it anymore.
Just probably molded dirt. Or maybe
they're going to repurpose the dirt. They're going to redevelop the area and maybe do something else. But so all those ghosts have to move out.
No doubt. So anyway, that's everything we need to discuss, guys. So be sure to check it out and let us know in the comments as usual on whether it was good for you as it was with the first one.
I reckon it's better than the first, but I reckon if you're going to watch this, I reckon you should watch Grave Encounters 1, followed very closely by Grave Encounters 2, and see the full story.
Yeah, I do wonder if they'll ever make a Grave Encounters 3. I hope not.
I shouldn't think so. The building's been destroyed now.
True. But then again, maybe they can even do it at a different, haunted institute, whatever.
It wouldn't be the same.
But then again, that wouldn't be the same. Everything. It would not be as good as...
Yeah.
Yeah. Anyway.
The Richards brothers might want to do it.
No, they may not even want to come back.
See, it's been 2011 and 2012. Now it's quite a few years later. They would have done it by now if they were going to do it at all.
And if they did, they may change the graphics again in this one.
Yes.
And by this point, I think that not too many found footage related movies are out at the moment. Well, there are a few, like Spree and that following movie, and there's, let me see, that new one we watched reviewed not too long ago, which is not too bad. Of course, as I said before, I think that it's slowly coming to either not as coming in abundance anymore.
Yeah, I mean...
As it was? Once was?
The day of the shaky camera is past.
Yeah.
I mean, it's good. Look, I'm not saying you shouldn't do handheld camera work and some found footage stuff.
Yeah.
But it's been... I think they've done it too much and people are getting a little bit tired of it. We did a movie recently and they did handheld all the way through it. And it was too damn jiggly. Even when they weren't doing anything, the camera was jiggling too much. It was hard to watch.
Yeah.
If it's static and you're sitting there, it can move a little bit, but not ridiculous amounts.
Yeah. I did, as I said before, I do like some found footage movies. Like I like Hell House, and I liked the the VHS ones, obviously.
Oh, yeah.
Which I've heard they might be doing another one this year.
Freedom, wasn't it?
Yeah. I heard they might be doing another one this year. I'm not sure. I haven't heard. There's probably talk about going straight to the 80s. But you got to admit, when you think about the 80s, it may not have any sound quality, considering they used, back in those days, would have used Super 8s. And they didn't
Very good.
And back then, the Super 8s didn't have any audio on some of them.
You're getting smarter every day. Super 8s didn't have any sound from a rear.
Yeah, maybe...
my brother had one.
Yeah, so...
Yeah.
But who knows how they're going to get around that one. They may even... I don't know if...
Don't let the truth get in the way of the story.
I mean, it would be rather... a little bit dull if it was just footage on its own, because... well, we've had the silent movie days, obviously, guys, and it's nice, but we still need a little bit of audio to tell the story. As one filmmaker has told me before, while he said that footage is important, but audio is equally as important as footage.
Actually, I agree with you. See, you can have a slightly grainy pictured in low light.
Yes.
Because obviously they expect great quality.
Right.
You're trying to do the mood. But if you got distorted sound, or it's muffled, or it's not loud enough, or it's there's too much going on in the background so you can't hear the people, it has been layered properly, it takes away from the movie. So if you've got a really sharp, good soundtrack, it doesn't have to have lots of backing music and stuff, but as long as it's nice and clear and layered properly, you got a bit of background noise, a bit of front noise, whatever, it makes a movie. You don't need all your special effects as much. What you need is good audio.
Yes.
If you get the good audio, people can listen to it.
Yeah. So think about it, guys.
When you picture in your head,
think of it of as Mike says before, that try to remember that it's more than just footage. That audio is just as equally as important to tell a story.
Well, you got all those found footage ones like your poltergeists and paranormal activities and stuff. They had good soundtracks. Had crappy pictures, crappy video work, but the sound was good. And that's what it gets down to. You got to hear it properly.
But even when they did silent movies, they still used music to emulate the scene.
Yeah.
Even if they didn't have audio at the time, but still they had something playing in the background to tell the story.
And it was clear music. It wasn't muffled. Didn't sound like the music was coming out of a tin can. It came very nice and clear on the on the recording strip. Oh, actually in the theatre back in the early days, you had someone playing piano or something.
True.
But when they actually put it onto the next level up, they added a recording strip to it. They can actually put it on TV later on.
Right.
And do the old stuff. They added the recording strip to it. They put the music over it. So they layered it, like put it into it and just lined up and everything.
So anyway, we're drifting apart again. So be sure to check out that movie, guys, and let us know in the comments what you think of Grave Encounters, the sequel, obviously, the second movie. So this is Sarah Stephenson.
And Model.
Saying see you guys around on Boys and Ghouls Film Review. See you guys next time.
Bye.